The 1920s. Now imagine the Russian prima ballerina of the day on a worldwide tour. She's bringing her renowned performance of the Dying Swan to every corner of the globe, delighting, captivating, and inspiring audiences. The grace and elegance of Anna Pavlova inspired the celebrated dessert chefs from down under. They created the light meringue dish, Pavlova. Now New Zealanders claim it's for themselves, while Australia says it's theirs. Kiwi or Aussie, it's one fair dinkum treat. Pavlova with lemon curd and fresh raspberries. I'm Garret Schack, and today that's what we're cooking on the coast. G'day, mate. Today we go down under Australia for delicious pavlova with lemon curd and fresh raspberries. A meal fit for a ballerina. Let's get started. So this is a really awesome dessert that's pretty simple to do, but it takes time. So the first thing we want to get started with is our pavlovas. We need egg whites, sugar, vanilla, and a little cornstarch. And what I'd like to show you right now is just how to separate an egg properly. So we want only the whites. So we crack it in half nicely like this, and then we're just going to sort of rock them back and forth between the shells. And we're going to save our yolks for the next part of the dessert. So you're probably wondering, well, why not just add these egg whites right to the mixing bowl? Well, because if you get any of that fat from the egg yolk, or so the proteins and the fats in the egg yolk, into your egg whites, they won't actually fluff up properly, and we won't get that nice airy texture that we're looking for. So we're gonna do it this way, and that way if we do get a little bit of yolk in there or some shell, we can start again, or we can try and dig it out. I'm getting pretty full there, so I'm gonna add this into our mixing bowl. Very important here to have an extra clean mixing bowl. So I've given it a really good wipe, nicely washed down, and we add our egg whites right to this. Now we've got all our egg whites in there. We wanna get this up and get it mixing up to sort of a, it's gonna get a little noisy here for a few seconds, but it's gonna come up to about, not soft peaks, I guess. Once we get to that, we'll see what that looks like in just 1 second here. In the meantime, let's cut open a lemon. We're gonna need a little bit of lemon zest for our recipe. I like to give it a little rub on the cutting board like this. That sort of starts breaking up all the segments. We'll just squeeze it right into this same one right here. Probably about the juice of half a lemon is just fine. You can see it's mixing up really nicely, starting to get light and fluffy. We're gonna see those bubbles change as we add our sugar in there in just a few moments. In the meantime, let me get another pot out here, and we'll start squeezing lemon juice into here for the second part of our recipe. We're making a lemon curd with this as well, using my hand as a strainer here, which is all good. A really cool fact is in Australia, back in 2010, actually, they made a 50-meter pavlova. It was to celebrate a giant rugby final that was going on. But can you imagine the size of a pavlova of 50 meters square diameter? Not to mention how many egg whites goes into something like that. So I'm gonna put my juicing aside here for 1 second and have a look in the bowl. Okay, I'm just gonna show you what soft peaks look like before we get started into the next of it. Do you see on the tip of my thing how it sort of, the peak starts falling over? That's what we're looking for. If it was standing straight up, we'd be gone a little bit too far, and we want to stop at that stage. So now with the mixer going, we're gonna add sugar a little bit at a time. And this time we can crank up the speed a little bit further. We don't want to add it all at once. We want to add it in maybe thirds, I guess. The important thing here is to really incorporate all the sugar into the pavlova. We want to make sure that you don't get little granular bits, and I'll show you what we do to test that in just a few moments. I'm going to add just a little bit more sugar here. Keep it going. You can see it started to dissolve. So the Australian version of a meringue is what this pavlova is. And I guess what we're looking for is this beautiful white crust around the outside and a little bit of a soft, chewy interior. You can see, if you look into the bowl here, I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera. I'll stop it here just quickly so maybe we can get a good look at it. Just drop it down. You can see it's changed color. So it's got kind of a shiny, and it looks like it's all starting to come together. That's what we're looking for. That means everything's working really well in there. I'll pop this back up, add some more sugar, crank it back up to high. This is a fabulous dessert that's served all over Australia. When I traveled to Australia, I found this on many, many recipes. The Aussies would sit down on a patio, have a pav and a coldie, and try this like sort of really decadent dessert that's really light and refreshing as well. Now, hopefully you can still see in the bowl there, it started to accumulate a little bit of sugar around it, so I'm just going to, using a spatula here, scrape it all down in there. And then I'll show you that trick I was talking about to tell if your sugar's gone completely dissolved in the egg whites. So just take a little bit on your finger and rub it in your finger just like that. And if you can still feel the granulars, it's not quite done. You want to keep mixing. Thank goodness for these mixing machines, huh? It saves you a lot of arm power in the end. Imagine having to whisk this by hand. Almost there. Now I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. I have some vanilla bean paste here. Now this paste is made strictly of vanilla beans. You can actually see a few of the little beans in there. You could use vanilla extract, that's fine, but make sure you're using a good quality extract. Some of the pure stuff, not the fake stuff, not quite as good. Put a fair bit in there, and that's going to add a beautiful sweetness and also these really cool speckles from the vanilla beans themselves. A touch of cornstarch. This gives the whole meringue a bit of consistency. It'll help us get that chewy interior that we're looking for. And then last, because I'm serving today's with a lemon curd, I want to add just a touch of lemon to this pavlova as well, to the meringue itself. So I'm going to add just that half lemon juice that we squeezed in there. And that's just going to give it, it's going to offset a little bit of that sweetness, just ever so slightly. And we're almost there. We're going to let this mix a little bit more. Scrape down the sides of the bowl, and then onto our sheet pan. Okay. We want to sort of knock away some of these goodies here. We don't want to leave any of that in the bowl. Now it's raw at this stage, so don't go handing that off to the kids to lick the whisk. That's the first thing to look for in my house. So lovely consistency. You can see how sort of shiny and how it's holding its shape. All we're going to do here, in the name of doing dishes, because I don't like to do too many dishes at home, we're just going to use our spatula to make these beautiful little pillows. Sort of clouds, I guess, if you will. There we are. It's okay if you get a few points, even adds some interest. Should get 6 out of this recipe, so that's lots. One more. We're gonna take that, fire it in a 250-degree oven. Here's a really important step. We definitely don't want to blast this into a high heat. We want to keep this lovely white color, and also it's going to cook for about 40 minutes. Then we're going to shut the oven off and leave it in the oven overnight. There we go. We'll be back later in the show to pull together our Down Under dessert, pavlova with lemon curd and fresh raspberries. But first, right after the break, we're getting out of the studio. You'll want to stick around for that. Here we are in historic Chinatown, downtown Victoria, at one of my favorite tea shops, Silk Road Teas. Let's pop in and see what Daniela, tea master and owner of the shop, has brewing up for us. Hi Daniela, thanks so much for having me in here today.
My pleasure.
I see we have some pretty exciting tea going on, but first you wanted to maybe touch base on brewing the perfect green tea?
Absolutely, because you know what? It's one of the easiest mistakes that people make. They want to drink green tea because of its health benefits, but they oversteep it and they use water that's too hot, and they thereby reduce the nutrient value, but it also then doesn't taste good.
Right, that makes sense, because at home, you know, I take the pot, I pour it in, and away I go. I don't really put too much thought into it, so it's interesting.
It is, and you know what? So I'm gonna just brew up some green tea, and I've got a green tea that we make here called Sublime. It's made with lime and lemongrass and green tea, and not only does that taste good, but it's actually better for you.
Okay.
It boosts the antioxidant value of the green tea.
Helps ward off scurvy.
Yes, it does actually. And of course, green tea is really great for boosting your immune system and preventing colds and flu. But the secret to making good green tea is that you need to use water that's below the boiling point.
Okay.
If you use water that's too hot, you overcook it. So it's just like kind of tender young vegetables, right? Like if you overcook your spinach.
Not only does it look bad, but it tastes bad too, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the same thing happens with green tea. And then short steeping time. So for our green tea, I'm just going to turn our little tea timer on here. We want to steep green tea for not more than 3 minutes.
Okay.
About 1 to 3 minutes is ideal. Longer than that, gonna get bitter.
And is green tea kind of, I've heard that it's quite high in caffeine, like that it has a good caffeine take, so.
Actually, no, you know what? The only green tea that's high in caffeine is matcha, which is the powdered green tea. Regular green tea is very low in caffeine.
Oh, okay, well that's good to know. Perfect.
Yeah.
So we have 3 different types of tea here, and now it's not something I'm super familiar with, but I know that you can do food pairings and so on with tea. So maybe you could walk me through the sort of perfect pairings and the pairing kind of combinations that you would do with these 3 different types of tea here.
Absolutely. So the Sublime green tea, think of green tea as white wine.
Okay.
So it's going to pair well with seafood or chicken or anything that's light, summer food, desserts sometimes, depending on what they are.
Perfect.
But very clean and refreshing.
Nice. So a little bit lighter and a little easier on the palate to go with those lighter type foods, right?
Absolutely.
Nice.
And of course, Asian food would be perfect with the Sublime because of the lime and the lemongrass flavors in there.
Yeah,
really good.
Now this one's really interesting. This looks great.
Yes, so this one is a black tea. It's called Spicy Mandarin, and it's got real citrus and fresh cinnamon pieces that are added into the tea.
Nice.
So we got that beautiful.
Oh, so amazing. Yeah, absolutely. It smells like an orange, just like punched me in the face there. That's awesome.
So it's a really beautiful, warming kind of taste. Black tea in general, think of black tea as red wine.
Okay.
So more depth, more structure, more body. Pairs well with heavier, oilier, richer foods.
So you could actually have a cup of tea with a nice steak or something like that, and that would work well. The black tea anyway,
Yes,
yeah?
you could, absolutely. Or duck or pork.
Oh, duck. This with duck would be amazing. Excellent idea.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, and then of course think about layering flavors too. So we've got the citrus flavors in here and the spice flavors already. So if there's anything like that in the food or that's a nice contrast, you might want to kind of think about this tea too.
Excellent idea, yeah. And then what do we have here? Look at these big leaves. That looks amazing.
So this is an oolong tea. It's called Black Dragon. Oolong tea is halfway between a green and a black tea. So as far as flavor is concerned, it's midpoint. Like it's not as strong as black tea, but it's a little bit heavier and fuller than green tea.
It does have like a toasted sort of smell to it, or fragrance.
It does, and it's actually being roasted. The leaves have been roasted, and so this tea is actually really fantastic for your digestion. Actually, it's really good slimming tea. So if you're eating a lot of in Asia,
I'm going to want to taste some of this right away.
Exactly. So it's really great for that. But of course, as far as tea and food pairing is concerned, think of it as
Try pouring? Am I going to do this right here?
Yeah, I'll show you in a second if you get it wrong. Oh no, he's doing pretty well.
Oh, look at this.
There we go.
Well, I'm no tea master, that's for sure, but
practice. There you
practice
go.
makes perfect.
There you go. So try that. So think of oolong as a rosé.
All right. Okay.
So any sort of, it's going to sort of pair equally well with different types of foods.
Very nice. Now this one's been steeping. Our steep timer is finished, and we've about just over 5 minutes, right?
Yes. So for about 5 to 7 minutes for an oolong tea, about 2 to 5 minutes for black tea. And the secret to black tea actually is always preheat your teapot with some hot water.
Brilliant idea. Excellent. Yeah, so that way you don't drop the boiling point.
Exactly.
Excellent.
And make sure your water's at a really full rolling boil for black tea, otherwise the flavor's not going to come out.
Well, Daniela, hopefully you and I can hang out here a little bit longer, pour a couple more glasses of tea and enjoy.
Yes.
But in the meantime, I'm going to have to duck out of here.
All right.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So thanks very much for having us, and we'll see you again.
Sounds good.
To our kitchen. We're working on our down under dessert, Pavlova with lemon curd and fresh raspberries. So, our Pavlova's in the oven. We've now turned off the oven. It's going to be sitting in there for the rest of the evening. But these are the ones as they came out here. You can see how beautiful and white they are. They have a lovely crispy crust around them. The inside is still nice and soft. For the other part of our dessert, we got started squeezing some lemons into the pot here. I'm going to continue to do that. We want about the juice of 3 lemons. Now, the lemon curd is typically used, I guess, as kind of like a spread in Australia. They use it instead of sort of jam or marmalade. So have a little rasp here. I want to save some of this rind. It's just taking the very fine layer off the top, and we're leaving all the white pith on the lemon itself. But that has a lovely flavor to it. And just add more lemony goodness to our dish. Okay, we'll squeeze the last of our lemon juice, and I've got the heat turned on. Okay, in the meantime, in this bowl here, we're gonna crack 1 egg, 1 whole egg, want a little bit of that white in there. And then the 4 egg yolks, remember from our Pavlova making earlier, our meringue? We have our sugar and a whisk, and we'll cream these guys together. So essentially we're making a custard, but we're using a fruit juice instead. Here we go. Now our lemon has come up to the boil. We're just gonna add that straight to our eggs and sugar that we've whisked together here. Kind of go slowly here, we don't want to scramble the eggs. Back to our pot, and we're gonna let this thicken up nicely. Now with our spatula, we just gently want to stir this around, being very careful not to stop stirring. We want to get all the sides, across the bottom. Just like a custard, this will stick to the bottom and it'll start to scorch really, really quickly. Australia is an amazing country. I had the opportunity to spend a year there with a working visa, and I just had the most amazing food, met some of the most amazing people. But my dive of the Great Barrier Reef was absolutely incredible. It's one of the largest organic structures in the world. It can be seen from space, from what I'm told. Now we're gonna look for this to start thickening up. I can feel it starting to thicken on the bottom. And you can see there's bubbles on top. Those will start dissipating here, and we'll start to get it thicker. Now, if you're at home and you want to be technical, certainly you can use a thermometer. You're looking for about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. See how it's starting to bubble? And you can see it's already thickened right up. It's exactly what we're looking for. Just going to take this over to this bowl over here, add a strainer, and strain it through. Now this is going to get rid of the seeds, but also get rid of any other unwanted sort of chunks or lumps or that may have formed as we were stirring here. And then we'll tuck this away. I'm going to add my lemon zest. Okay, we're just going to give it a little stir now that we've got the zest in there. And we're going to stir in some butter. Probably about that much. About a 1/4 cup or so. And we're gonna add it in little chunks at a time, making sure to stir it in and incorporate it really, really well. And you can't go wrong with butter, can you? Just incorporate this all in nicely. One of my favorite stories from the time over in Australia was about this gentleman named Bob Hawke. And he is in the Guinness Book of World Record for being able to scull 2.5 pints of beer in 11 seconds. Tell me that guy's not a hero. He should be their prime minister, I think. Here we go. In fact, I think he went on to become prime minister, actually. Just tells you about the character of the Aussie people. I love them. Here we go. Okay, once it's all stirred in nicely, we want to set this in the fridge, but before we do, just going to cover it with a touch of cling film here. Okay. Now what this is going to do is keep a film from forming on the top of our custard here, on the top of our curd. Just dab it right down on top, and then fire it into the fridge. Oh, and through the magic of television, we did some just a little bit ahead of time because we knew we were gonna have to speed up this process a little bit. And let's get down to the presentation of this dish. We have this wonderful lemon curd here. Place it down on the plate. And I like to do a little swoosh like that. You can see all the lemon zest in there, wonderful texture. Take one of these beautiful little pillows and fire some raspberries on there. See how beautiful and white they are? The texture is amazing. Add those lovely colors. I'll put just a touch more on top. Nice, give it a little taste. Velvety, little citrus, gets you right in the back of your cheek here a little bit. That's incredible. A couple more raspberries because I love them. Beautiful when you have them in season, use them. And then this little piece of mint, which is a wonderful garnish because you can eat it afterwards and freshen your breath, but also makes the whole dish pop. So there you have it, our pavlova with lemon curd and fresh raspberries. Absolutely incredible. Now, what better way to enjoy our Down Under dessert than with a choice beverage? With me today is Ryan from Divine Vineyards. How you doing, Ryan?
Good, thank you. How are
Thanks
you?
for coming on the show today.
Appreciate it.
So, what have you got for us?
Well, I brought today the Divine 2013 Epiphany. It's a nice fortified beverage, which should pair very nicely with this dish.
Nice. So, kind of sweet, or are we looking a little bit?
We got some sweetness, some earthiness, a little bit of kick from the fortification, all around a nice balanced wine for standing up to something like a Pavlova, which has got some flavor behind it.
Awesome. Yeah. So it should work really well with the sweetness of the Pavlova and the lemon curd.
That's right.
Very nice. Should we give it a try?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Love the bottles.
Thank you.
That's great. So is this something that's, does it come out yearly, or how does the process work with the Epiphany?
The story behind the Epiphany was a few years ago we had some excess product. We didn't really know what to do with it. It had some residual sweetness, and we hadn't really done a dessert style yet. And so we created what we called the Epiphany, and each year it's been something a little different. So Epiphany literally means surprise, and here comes our surprise.
And here's this year's surprise?
That's
fantastic.
right.
I'm going to give it a little taste. It smells amazing. Oh, wow. That's really nice. The blackberry notes are really prevalent in that. Let's see how it pairs up with the Pavlova here.
Lovely.
Grab a fork. Can't let a guy eat alone, you know?
No, absolutely not.
So for such an elegant dessert, it's pretty tough to eat, isn't it?
No, it is, yeah. Take the whole thing here.
The raspberries, the lemon, and then it's all sweetened up by the Pavlova. Wow, great choice. I think it actually brings out some more of that those berry notes and stuff in the wine.
It really does. You know, blackberries and blueberries and raspberries, all natural together, you know. Such a summer harvest, amazing.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Nice
feast around here.
Nice that you're able to work with it too out of Divine Vineyards. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and the blackberries, of course, came from the local Sartlip First Nation, so we're really pleased to have worked with them. And
nice. And they must have been picking for hours to get 4.5 tons, like you were saying. That's
they're remarkably good at doing that. They would show up with hundreds of pounds a day, which was lovely.
Perfect. Thanks again, Ryan, for being here. That's great.
Well, thank you.
Check out our website where you'll find more information on today's show and maybe a few surprises. I'm Garret Schack. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to savor the flavor.